This video is sponsored by War Thunder. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is quite an interesting entry into the AC franchise, as it rests as our last foray into what the series was before its massive shift with Origins. It was a bridge to tide over fans for the next 2 years, but also felt like an apology and course correction from Unity, scaling back many of the systems and completely gutting new mechanics introduced with Unity instead of iterating on them. Ubisoft knew the direction they were taking the series after the sad failure of Unity, and Syndicate is an obvious casualty of that. Is what I would say had this game been in development longer than 2 years. Syndicate never had a chance, nor do I believe Ubisoft cared if it did, which is what makes AC Syndicate quite the marvel, as it stands right next to AC Rogue as one of the quickest turnarounds in development. While being substantially bigger than Rogue, and a mainline entry build to tide us over for the next 2 years. I feel for the developers at Ubisoft Quebec, and I feel like I say it every video nowadays, they did the best they could in the time that they had.
The past is your playground, Abstergo.
Oh hell no, Juno is Abstergo's spokesperson now? I still love the super meta angle Ubisoft leaned into with the Abstergo basically being them creating games, which the irony of it all is either lost on them or it's the funniest middle finger to the guys upstairs from the devs. I don't think I've ever mentioned the similarity between the Abstergo and Assassin symbol, sporting the same triangular shape echoing their deep ties with each other, but show their differences with the Templar's rigid bars and orderly display and the Assassin's elegant and flowing design. I think it's neat. The little drone is named Clay after, Subject 16. This little moment, just to Chekhov's gun, the most violent thing we'll ever see Sean do. And speaking of that, I want to take a quick second to tell you about this video's sponsor, War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicular combat game ever created, now on mobile. What? It's basically on everything now. PlayStation, Xbox, PC, it's awesome. There are over 2,500 different tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations spanning 100 years of military history. It doesn't get more realistic than War Thunder. Between the incredibly detailed vehicles and authentic sound effects, you feel like you yourself are on the battlefield. Something that I've always loved about War Thunder is the way they handle player damage. There's no HP. Instead, damage to individual vehicle components and crew members can die. If your driver dies, but your tank is still operational, get ready for Custer's last stand. What blows my mind is that Gaijin has managed to get this incredible game on mobile, with insane visuals and intuitive controls. Speaking of that, whether you use your phone, keyboard and mouse, controller, you are not limited one bit for input methods in War Thunder. And thanks to the in-house developed engine Dagger for War Thunder, you can enjoy super immersive sim levels to the combat, or a more laid-back arcade experience, with ultra-low lag, industry-leading visuals, and high frame rates. Join a worldwide community of over 70 million players in epic PvP battles today and delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. There's simply no better game better suited for fans of military history, such as myself. War Thunder is available for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile. Make sure to use my links in the pinned comment or description to get your massive bonus pack with 7 days of premium, 100k Silver Lions, vehicle customization, and more. Only for new and returning players who have not played in the last 6 months across PC and consoles. What are you waiting for? Crew up your vehicle, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Got a fun list of Templars that we might recognize not just from previous AC games, but from history in general.
Move forward. You'll be searching for the Piece of Eden through the lives of Jacob and Evie Frye.
Syndicate doesn't even pretend that their modern-day story has anything of weight to offer, much like Unity, which I welcome. There were some cool moments with AC4's modern day, but when it's so half-baked, best to just focus on the main course. Better to full-ass something than half-ass it.
It is as I feared. London has fallen.
I don't suppose we have a drawer butler hanging around to save us, do we?
His name is Crawford Starrick, and he intends to rule the world. There is no aspect of society he does not control, no industry that escapes his grim touch.
This overview by Henry fast-tracks everything we need to know for this entire game's plot, which will be a recurring theme for this game. We've done the song and dance of watching our heroes learn of the Brotherhood and become assassins many times. We finally get to just drop in and start the stabby-stabby.
Say it, afraid. Crawford Starrick's ambition is fixed on the beyond.
Okay, that goes kinda hard. Seeing his reach expand across the globe as he places his hand on it, I can't even blame him for the way he acts throughout the game.
Whosoever controls London controls the world.
Not if Margaret Thatcher and Xiao Zhang have anything to say about it.
Think you both can handle it?
What a question.
Seems like they're already on top of things. We see the difference between our twins right from the start. Evie embracing the creed more than her brother, loves her hood and robes, while Jacob can't help but put distance between himself and the regalia.
George, honestly, I've studied the plans of the laboratory and have every route covered.
And I've got all I need right here.
And the twins let us know outright what to expect from them. We got the quiet nerd and the hothead jock. The dynamic is a perfect setup ripe with possible conflict to place between the two.
Extend your regards to Ferris.
Chat later, George. We've a train to catch.
Jacob! Evie!
After finishing the game, it's quite refreshing seeing these two work together, as we don't really get much of that throughout the game, which is somewhat the point. But these two bounce off each other wonderfully. Wouldn't have minded some fun twin team-up side missions exploring their dynamic further. And who said the tone isn't bleak and dark like industrial London should be? We're opening with child labor and OSHA violations. Syndicate brings back the free run up and down from Unity, with severely stripped back animations and options in an attempt to wrangle the difficult and often unwieldy parkour introduced in that game. Had Origins not been in the pipeline, which planned to further strip down parkour, I fully believe they would have stuck with Unity's movement and continued to iterate on it. But alas, we get our final hurrah of what AC movement used to be, and it's fine. Once you get used to how this version works, it's serviceable. Not as fluid as Unity or as controlled as Black Flag or Revelations, but more functional for where the series was at this point. And with the game's sole purpose of being a warm body in the release calendar, I still had fun with it. Especially the flat ground vaults. Gosh, I loved these since they were introduced in AC3 and wish any game with similar movement focused on it more.
The lad in the factory should be taken to be bandaged by the apothecary.
Fine, but dock his wages.
Ah, his face is all distorted on magnification just like his whole self. They really just made this guy the most irreprehensible man ever. At least AC still keeps their bad guys bad.
Is done.
Oh?
Whoa, why is this guy standing up? I don't get it, my immersion is broken. Well, similar to Unity with the weird memory merging. It's really no different than any other assassination in the series, other than the presentation being more direct that this was all basically an eagle vision trip. Think about the amount of times you've been in complete combat and kill your target to have a whole ass conversation holding them in your arms. It's never been what's actually happening.
A bolt loosened in Starrick's machine. A large bolt, but not enough.
I had to slide that large bit in there. I like this guy. He's got a bit of an ego. Assassins nowadays have no sense of pageantry anymore. They used to carry around expensive eagle feathers to mark their kills. Now it's just a pocket hanky? Disgusting and exactly what I expect from you Brits.
Can still recall a couple of tricks from me carnival days.
Charming.
I like to imagine you just slithered backwards headfirst out that window. Jacob's opening mission was cool and all, with the train and watching the kid get obliterated by Union Busters, but I really like Evie's tutorial mission. The level design here gives a lot of room for player expression and many ways to practice for returning players to brush up on their skills or new players to figure it all out.
It is time to lay down your head, Sir David Brewster.
But I have so much more to discover.
Do not be afraid.
There's a stark contrast between Evie and Jacob's first assassinations that we see. Jacob almost boasts about the kill while Evie is reassuring. Granted, their respective targets are quite deserving of the treatment they receive than if they were reversed. But still, it's another league in lengthening the divide between these two.
I have to get out of here, now.
You gotta love the music found here in Syndicate. I can't quite put it into words other than it sounds like Victorian London, and I don't even know what Victorian London even sounds like. But composer Austin Wintry nailed the vibe of this game. Oh my god, my claustrophobia can't handle this right now. Good job, Ubisoft, freaking me out.
Then all in all, a successful mission in spite of you two.
If that's not indicative of the fall of the Creed, I don't know what is. We constantly see that the Brotherhood is in this state of decline no matter where we go, and it seems to me they just lack standards.
The Council shall guide us.
Especially between Unity's everything involving the Brotherhood and this game's creed seeming abandonment of London under guidance of a council, leads me to believe there's a theme Ubisoft wanted to tackle of the assassins floundering when they found themselves structuring in a more bureaucratic nature, echoing more Templar than free-flowing assassins with more of a us above you below than a mentor-student relationship, which is a theme I wish they explored more of, order versus freedom. Seeing where the assassins draw that line has always been the most interesting plots, and what makes the Kenway trilogy, AC3, 4, Rogue, to me, the best AC has to offer.
Could continue his legacy in London.
freeing future generations from a city ruled by Templars.
Accidentally giving yourself a reason to join your freaky brother and going against the wishes of the Brotherhood. Syndicate took another step in redefining this theme, calling it just family in the OST. Made even stronger by the fact that it was the voice of Evie, Victoria Atkin, who sang this rendition of the theme. Her having the harder on for the Brotherhood, it's fitting to have her actress perform it. I am imagining Evie humming the theme the way Gemma hums the Monster Hunter theme in Wilds during gameplay. I know they're assassins, but seeing them, Leap of Faith feels strange. Points for them doing more assassins things, though.
Oi, watch it.
Beg pardon, sir.
Oi!
Glad to see that London hasn't changed a bit. I respect Henry's commitment to the assassin drip. It does come as no surprise why London has fallen under his watch, because he is not hiding in plain sight in those robes.
Call ourselves the Rooks.
You're never good at chess either.
Rooks are some of the most powerful pieces that come in during the mid to late game of a chess match, and can span the whole board, much like Jacob's gang does in London.
Only Providence knows where those words are headed now.
I mean, hey, they might not have written as well as Charles Dickens, but they still nail the wielder side of him.
What an odd man.
The genuine confusion in Paul Roger Amos's performance. The sprinting assassinations just get better and better with every game, don't they? Though here they don't keep your momentum as much as previous games, they're still flashy as all hell. Cute little Breaking Bad time-lapse between our missions to get us all caught up to proper weather conditions for it. Which brings me to the weather and lighting. Syndicate reverts back to what the series used to always do, having a dynamic lighting system that adjusts on the fly corresponding to environment conditions. This is a big reason why it visually is a step back from Unity, as that game utilized baked lighting. With set visuals for different weather and times, it was easy for the team to go much heavier with the lighting, which helps the visuals tremendously. Syndicate, on the other hand, feels much more like a playground AC game. Coupled with the quick dev time, it was the right call to go back to the old lighting system. We get a proper day-night cycle, which helps the world feel more alive because of it. The entirety of Sequence 2 is all about introducing the core gameplay loop of Syndicate, which is conquering the London boroughs, and your enjoyment of this loop is gonna make or break it for you for this game. It takes the build the Brotherhood formula from the older games and gives it a good old Victorian spin with us running a gang, acting less like an assassin and more mobster, which is directly in line with Jacob's character, as he seems to be using an assassin as a means to an end rather than it being the end itself. And this map is huge, though they are the same repeated like 5 missions. I was still impressed by just how many I would need to take on to conquer a borough. I was averaging about an hour per, and with all of them to conquer, the main story, the side missions, and the DLC content, I honestly think AC Syndicate justifies its place as a mainline AC game from a pure content point of view. And like many have stated before me, AC Syndicate, which I will refer to as ACS from now on, gives big GTA energy with their vehicle system. I'm honestly glad they treat carriages like cars instead of, well, a carriage would work. Makes them a lot of fun to ride around, and the very nature of them is a nice touch. You can get your bus-style slow lumbering carriage or a sports car carriage with high maneuverability and speed like a fancy schmancy upper class use. Please don't mess around in this game. Until you get about on their level, these guys are no joke. I actually respected and feared them for a time. Worried about being caught being all illegal was a genuine concern, as I could rarely outplay my way through them.
You seem to want my employer's attention, Mr. Frye. Oh.
It's nice to see the Templars are using criminals as the roots of their entire organization in London, which I find interesting because we assassins turn around and do the same. Insert Green Goblin rooftop meme here.
Well, why not? You seem to have taken most of my money. Why not take a small favor, too?
There are several factories about the city that are powered almost entirely by child labor.
And it's smart to introduce this gameplay loop with characters attached to these missions. We get a snippet of story to get us hooked on the quest line, and it really helps contextualize them when we're doing our 30th one later. We check back in on these characters and get neat little rewards from them too. It really helps make it feel less like a checkbox marked and like we are truly making a difference in London. And also, this whole child labor angle of the game, I've seen others speak to the game's tonal dissonance with the true darkness apparent in the time period. Yeah, Industrial London sucked for a lot of people, and Ubisoft decided directly to have a much lighter tone with the game having Jacob at its lead. He's a wisecracking do-gooder that saves kids at any cost. This game wasn't interested in delving into the ethics and horrors of Industrial London, but rather to showcase it as an architectural beauty to climb around in.
Save them.
A small favor.
In return, we offer you intelligence, something you clearly need.
Now, hold on a minute.
I'm late for an appointment. What are these terms?
Yo, who got Bella Ramsey to play this kid? I swear, she'd kill this role.
Kaylock has demanded you settle the claim for territory in a gang fight.
His loss?
Yo, I love this. Just real recognizing real. No sneaking around or backstabbing. Just straight up, who's got the sauce? We get 3 main weapon types to enjoy in ACS, which don't make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things, but more importantly, lets us pick what kind of fight animations we get, which is fine by me. It's no RDR2, but you can't just not enjoy chasing after a train and then fighting on it.
Ah, you bastard. I'd rather throw myself to the tracks than run Bertha another mile for that doted ball bag.
Excuse me, what the f did you just say? Our money sink for this game has moved to upgrading our gang, which I love. Being able to see the tangible rewards of our investments is fantastic and beats the hell out of spending money just to make more of it.
Alexander Graham Bell.
As we get closer to our modern times, it feels more and more silly meeting these huge historical figures. Being besties with Leonardo da Vinci, I sleep. But Charles Dickens and Bells feels weird, right? I love it. Following in Unity's footsteps with the RPG elements, we get 2 separate skill trees for Evie and Jacob. Allows us to focus on which way to take each assassin, if we so please, with fun capstones that are unique for each character, encouraging us to play both, even if I just play Jacob the whole time.
Magnetic telegraph? Sounds a bit of a mouthful. You could just call it a telephone.
Are you freaking kidding me? Ubisoft is having their OC take credit for the name telephone? My god, the AC series sometimes feels as if conspiracy theorists made a game, as they think everything has a secret society behind it. So the rope launcher. Yes, it's like a watered-down Batman Arkham grapple, but I say it's fine. With London being a 1-to-1 scale and the streets needing to be wide enough to occupy carriage traffic, this was the perfect solution to not having climbing feeling like a chore. Scaling these enormous buildings is quick and snappy, and we needed a way to cross buildings that have big streets between them. And somehow they managed to do it in a way that doesn't completely break my immersion. And on that note, London is the closest to 1-to-1 scale of any map in the AC franchise. The dedication to this recreation is so impressive and accurate that Londoners could trace their daily commutes, much how people from NYC could in Spider-Man 2018. It's incredible how much detail is packed into this map in such a short amount of time. You really feel this when crossing the River Thames. Just consider how Constantinople felt compared to this. The tallest buildings in the Ezio trilogy pale before London. Which leads us to some of the coolest leaps of faith ever. For a game to be made in this quick a time, a formula is needed. ACS looks far back to its roots, with each sequence feeling eerily similar to AC1. Each sequence, we kill a target with lead-up investigation missions. We get a bit of flavor thrown in from famous London historical figures, but it doesn't get much deeper narratively than that. I think trying to view ACS from that view is doing a disservice. It's not trying to be an AC3 or Ezio trilogy from a story standpoint. Jacob being the lead character focused on making a fun gang and not the piece of Eden isn't no accident. Once I let go of my hopes of a deep, engaging story, my enjoyment of this game skyrocketed.
What's this one going to do, Heal the sick? Deflect bullets? Control the populace?
All pieces of Eden we've seen before.
Did you find it?
Oh, these two are just at their best when they're together. Jacob is so goofy, and the contrast is enthralling to watch. The assassin hideout being on a train this time around is pretty badass. Plays directly into the gang vibe while also being insanely practical. Constantly on the move, can reach any part of the city quickly, and has a constant flow of people in and out to keep a pulse on the city.
Fieldwork is not really my speciality.
We found a clue to a precursor object. Don't you want to follow it?
Put that way, one can hardly refuse.
Oh, their first date. Look at that smile.
Kenway, the pirate.
Master assassin and pirate, yes.
Oh, how cool. They knew they struck gold with Edward and had to give him a little cameo. Would have been funny if she said Kenway, the Templar, the Revolutionary, or the pirate. The Jackdaw has seen better days.
Clearly Kenway had a strong sense of spectacle.
Yeah, real-life pirates had a knack for spectacle. Even a master assassin has got to have a man cave to reminisce over the glory days.
Ah, Jacob, Miss Frye, how good to...
Bell's crush on Evie is so sweet. I love how it's never directly acknowledged, but you can see it with every interaction they have. Just like the train, chasing a boat is so cool! What is it about Monkey Brain that likes chasing things? Am I just a dog?
It's all he drinks. Your syrup is liquefying him. He's turning him simple-headed.
See what I'm saying? This could have been a sequence about the darkness behind experimental medicine at the time, or doctors abusing their power. But this is framed as a joke, and even the final black box mission doesn't lean too heavily into the latter. And I'm on board with this. If they played Industrial London straight, it'd be f***ing depressing.
Oh, shut off!
Jacob's a G. Gotta love the AC symbol embedded in all the gears. Really sets a tone every time you boot up the game. The multi-takedowns go so freaking hard in this game. If ACS offered anything of value and a leap forward for the franchise, it was animation and how contextual the world is. I don't know what wizardry Ubisoft did to pull it off, but it's impressive watching us use a wall or ledge to beat up on enemies. Or the takedown that pins them to the wall with a knife. Like, how in the world did this just happen emergently and it just worked?
An opium, no less. Revolting. Absolutely sickening.
Guess it just depends on who you ask.
Now, was that so hard?
If any of my friends played this game that week, yes, would be an inside joke for years. Why? Why are we starting with Darwin being a goober with his umbrella? I'm here for it, but I thought he'd be a bit more of a put-together man. I guess the dude who discovers evolution wouldn't be so straight-cut.
As you've just witnessed, the application of too much pressure can sometimes result in unexpected outcomes. Unfortunately, it appears I've ruined the organ.
Killing a man kills a man. Very insightful. But this is the crazy shit these doctors would do in the name of science to rule out everything with documentation. This is about as dark as the game gets, and it's still played for a joke. Respect. Black box missions make a return from Unity with even more to do. We get far more approaches to these assassinations, including a unique assassination for each target, which is a vast upgrade to Unity's 1. With ACS's dedication to more stealth options, it makes for what can be considered the best stealth of any AC game. This is some Scooby-Doo level ass shit to get close to the doctor.
You're a child. A child who believes it can solve all the world's woes with a flick of a blade. Have you ever pondered the consequences of your actions, Jacob Frye?
We even lit the theme of questioning the creed from AC1 here, which is super interesting, but unlike AC1 where we discover the creed has been corrupted, here it just kind of just serves to show Jacob is brash. It's not as grand as AC1, but it gives Jacob an arc at very least. You may hate the Templars all you want, but you gotta admire their drip. Crawford looks like the sexy descendant of Charles Lee, and I would let him shoot me in a piano rage.
This tea was brought to me from India. By a ship and up from the harbor to a factory, where it was packaged and ferried by carriage to my door, unpacked in the larder and brought upstairs to me. All by men and women who work for me, who are indebted to me, Crawford Starrick, for their jobs, the time, the very lives they lead. They will work in my factories, and so too shall their children, so that we may drink this.
Starrick is captivating. Just about any scene he is in, I am locked in. Hearing him break this down reveals so many layers about him, oozing in subtext, showing his intelligence of constructing this network, his confidence in himself and the systems, how he views those that work under him, his ego that is well stroked by making thousands of people work and move many thousands of miles just to give him a drink, and finally, the power that he truly holds. This is top energy radiating out from Starrick, and all he has to do was tell a little story. He deserved more scenes, especially more interacting directly with the twins.
Miss Frye shall be gutted. Soon enough. Delicious.
What the f was that cut? Hit like it was a deleted scene compilation on a DVD. Aw, this drone is called Lucy. F that traitor ass hoe. I'm kidding, that was a bit out of pocket. Cute nod to the friendship they had because I 100% believe that was real.
Something we don't.
The only thing we know is that we can't go up against Sigma Team alone.
Sigma Team? God, I wish that line dropped in our Gurn era. Greenie knows everything about this city, so I appreciate his little pre-sequence breakdowns. I know we expect much more from an AC game because of past entries, but God, can I not but love this game the more I get into it? It's just the perfect popcorn game. Got 3 kids and a full-time job, or just a short attention span and like completing games, you could just jump in, play for an hour, and get a fun, fulfilling experience that doesn't demand too much of you. Greenie reminds us of what the hell's going on. The missions don't feed into each other, but rather the final kill target, and it makes me realize that we are not the target demographic of these games. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you consume other content critiquing AC games, which the vast majority of gamers do not do.
So the hints you found in the Kenway house lead to the monument.
What a wonderful use of your time. Follow me around asking obvious questions.
This makes me believe that she told Jacob repeatedly not to join her, and he was just bored and did so to annoy her like any true brother.
Oh yes, Mr. Green. That's a fascinating idea. Oh please, Mr. Green, come and take a look at this book and stand oh so close to me, Mr. Green. What was it Father used to say?
Don't allow personal feelings to compromise the mission.
Precisely. Anyway, I'm off.
Oh my God, I love Jacob. follows her, annoys her, teases her about her crush, and then just buggers off without even helping her. Just add this to the tally of me being bad at video games. I really don't know what I was thinking or what my plan was. But this is what the police being tough is all about. I normally could just fight my way through any encounter in single-player games, but this forced me to interact with the game systems, and I loved it for this. Utilizing social stealth, starting a fight between my rooks and the blighters to pull the guard's attention to sneak by. I normally champion a game for giving us the option to go loud or sneaky, but I actually really enjoyed being forced into something and learn.
And why do you want the shroud? Merely to keep the Templars from having it?
Fucking checkmate. With every entry into the series, I get more and more on board with the Templar ideology, low-key. Not because I support child labor or exploitation of factory workers, but they have a plan. They're actually doing things. The assassins have seemed quite aimless after Connor, and with Hatham and Shay, they showed a side of the Templars that aren't the worst. Let me know if I'm dying on the wrong hill here, guys.
Enough. I'm not here to kill you.
She almost looks disappointed.
Internal combustion engines.
8 small syllables that mean a great deal of money.
Jacob's side of the story is all about dismantling Starrick's control over London, one industry at a time. It's neat to look at all the different industries and how they worked during the time. His approach is quite non-assassin and more gun for hire, even if he tries not to be. I kind of prefer the main bulk of the story leaning less on the Templar versus assassin ideology and more on the practical side of how this conflict affects the everyday people.
You're fortunate I like you.
Call back, not even a minute later. See, this game is wasting no time.
Come on, let me tell you about the job.
In another game, we'd have like 2 or 3 interim missions leading up to this train heist. Nah, not Syndicate, no. We'd get our breakneck up in this bitch. Popcorn game.
Back to business. Milner's fled to the Thames, occupied with securing his ferry. It's all he has left.
Protecting it with his life, no doubt.
The very thing I want you to take.
Pearl might be the smartest Templar in the game. There's no shot she doesn't know who Jacob is. So keeping her identity under wraps and getting Jacob to take out her enemies wipes them off the board, yes, but also keeps Jacob occupied and away from her endeavors, strengthening him, actually. Really shows the cleverness of the Templars and why they've held London for 100 years. It's not just brawn and male egos controlling the city.
Speaking of Starrick, he is still transmitting false information.
Then, like, cut the wires, bro. Aren't you the guy that made AT&T? Nah, but for real, I love the contrast of how Starrick rages his war against the assassins. He's a bastard, but the city is running. Things are being built and running as smooth as can be expected. I mean, the dude gets tea from India for f***'s sake, whereas Jacob is only seen as destroying but not replacing anything in his wake.
Slip these into your boots and you will henceforth be immune to all voltaic discharge.
Nice! Diegetic reason we could just pop these on our own feet. That was so cute. Jacob is an underrated AC protagonist.
Ever since Elliotson was murdered, the district has been overrun with counterfeit tonics.
And here we're directly swimming in that wake that Jacob has left behind. Evie's story is part to satiate the AC lore side of things with Pieces of Eden, but more interestingly, having to pick up Jacob's pieces. It seems this is the real story they wanted to tell. The two twins at odds with each other, but it's still an AC game at the end of the day.
Evie Frye. I'm Miss Nightingale. How do you do?
I love how every single character is introduced as a big mic drop moment with their own damn title cards. This subconsciously also plays into the tone of the game, as previous titles will just have the character exist. Charles Lee was just a dude and his name came and went. Blackbeard wasn't even Blackbeard most of the time. But here we're getting intros like they're WWE superstars. Am I reaching? It is really cool seeing all these historical figures seriously be leaned into for what they're known for, almost to a comedic degree. Instead of being real characters, they feel like vessels to show off why they're known in history, which feeds into my WWE feeling. Except for Belle. I love his banter with the twins.
It takes a long time to change things. But I'm not going anywhere, Miss Frye.
Perfect button for Miss Nightingale, though, putting in leagues of work of professionalizing nursing roles for women. Jacob learns she's a Templar and he goes, kill, 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 without even a second thought. Like, I get it, she played you, but, like, not even gonna investigate a little bit? Like, we just gonna roll with knowing she's at Waterloo and call it a day? Because it fits his character, actually. Perfect. No notes. These black box missions have really fun level design, too. I've got the right options available to reach my target, but I'm also limited in all the right ways. This one and the bank in particular were quite the head-scratcher on how I'm going to do it stealthily. Spoiler alert, I didn't.
I have sacrificed so much. I don't want to lose my buses.
If my last fucking words are, I don't want to lose my buses, Please, don't tell anyone. I can't think of a reason why she would have such a hard-on for her buses. I guess to show how out of touch Templars are, she's more concerned with her business than she is with customers or even her very own life, highlighting the inhumanity of industrial Templars.
Hearts must wear a mask.
Mr. Starrick.
I told you not to disturb me!
Ah, yes, the classic villain playing the piano killing working class man because he's bad and not in the right frame of mind. Subtlety be damned, just make him kick a dog at this point. Funny thing is, I bet people would be more upset about that than this. It is quite harrowing when you take a moment to actually feel this moment. I'm so desensitized, I kinda laughed and rolled my eyes at this moment. But this lingering shot is effective in what it's trying to do. Make you reflect on this random. You may not have known him, but he was fully grown, had so many experiences and memories that led him to this moment, just to have his light snuffed out in a moment. I almost understand Batman and Daredevil's no-kill rule now.
As you remember me.
Crawford.
Thorne knows not to interrupt lest she share the same fate, either learning in this moment not to, or representing that this isn't the first time he's done this.
Your passion is most welcome, Miss Thorne. But we cannot let our emotions disrupt the lawful structures of society.
Bro, shut the fuck up. Didn't you just shoot a dude like Tuco pounding Nodos?
It shall happen in the shadows.
Spoken like a true assassin?
And then we shall enter the vault and cast aside the shadows together.
Interesting as it seems the Templars want to work in the light, contrasting the assassin mantra of working in the dark.
Feud ends in blood!
I'll take one.
Here you go, sir.
Ooh, social stealth. What an assassin. I really appreciate how effortless Jacob makes it seem. We aren't playing as master assassins, which I also appreciate, but they're no slouch, and little moments like this display that.
You weak fool! Get a job!
Spoken like a true out-of-touch politician. Perfection.
Every fiscal quarter, a branch of the bank is robbed. Never the same branch.
You'd think the banks would establish a pattern, no? You gotta respect the thieves hitting their quarterly quotas. And finding out who it actually is behind it, it makes sense that he's trying to hit it every quarter.
If only I knew which shipment it was, then I could trace the weapons to their owner.
Capital idea, Freddy.
And that was it. That was the entire pre-mission cutscene. And most in this game are like that. Before we'd sometimes be treated to a 5 minutes of cutscene, fleshing out characters in the world, but ACS doesn't have time for that, nor cares. I, for one, was sorely missing our side characters not getting any true development, but this shift is indicative of the direction Ubisoft was taking with their games, and hey, it gets us straight back into the action and playing.
To waiting. To the Bank of England. Yeah.
This dude, whoever the father was of this bloodline, has got some big Game of Thrones energy. The seed is strong. This is the only brute model in the game, and you know what? I kind of respect it that they didn't change a damn thing. I believe it was mostly for readability in combat. Bald man equals big boy, same as round hat jacket equals grunt, top hat trench coat equals elite. It's about being able to quickly read a fight and execute at a high level. It is incredible what they achieved with the River Thames. You really feel the weight of industry moving in London. It's a blast trying to find a path across without touching the water or stopping. Now this is pod racing. Can you do this in GTA? Thought not.
What good is a key if you don't know what lock it opens?
I dare say Miss Thorne is in the same predicament.
Henry, Mr. Green, here, this is it.
That's sweet. These two are just adorable to watch. For a moment, her professionalism drops as she just goes gooey for Henry until she realizes that she's down and tightens it back up.
Right, yes. Good luck. Evie?
From Miss Frye to Evie. I've been to London before for a week and visited the Tower of London, and as one of the few locations I can remember, it was eerie how exploring this was triggering memories from my visit. The bigger scale of the maps also seemed to aid in the level design and giving us more depth to play with, more places to hide, and creative opportunities to tackle a situation. The kidnapping feature is pretty neat and directly in line with the whole gang angle for this game. This is taking hiding in plain sight to a whole new level. The anxiety and tension of walking through this den was exhilarating. Unique assassinations make these missions 10 times more memorable than they would have been otherwise.
I'll find it without your help, and then I'll strangle you with it.
Ironic, am I right? Talking about the shroud. Respect to Thorne for reacting to Evie, but you know I gotta win the sauce in those sexy ass moves.
You'd hoard power and never use it, when we would better the condition of humanity.
That's a great point. The assassins as of late often seem to act like they know better than those around them, and take those actions in the name of stopping the Templars. And it reminded me of Ezio's speech at the Bonfire of the Vanities, where I think the best embodiment of the assassins has ever been displayed, offering guidance but not a path, where these recent assassins want to hammer out that path and choose for others what should be done. Now, I know we're talking about magical, powerful, ancient technology, but it still should be a discussion among all how something is used. The assassins have been on a fall from grace since AC3, and it's no surprise that every time we check up on them, they are struggling. I enjoy this angle taken, as it was easy to follow and side with Ezio, Connor, Edward. Now, I'm not so sure.
I promise to endow you with an income into your old age. That is the most I can do.
Miss Thorne, sir.
What of her?
I'm sorry, sir. She is dead.
Wow, seems that Evie did Starrick a favor. Now no need to have that awkward conversation. As Starrick's empire is crumbling, we're seeing him get more and more dressed down. The bank assassination was definitely the toughest one to do without creating an all-out brawl. I loved these. Getting the unique kill opportunity was a little puzzle to solve, and always worth going for the intrinsic value it holds. I can easily just run in and kill everyone and everything, but where's the fun in that? AC has always been about the intrinsic motivation. How flashy can I be when I clear this room? How cool can I look while parkouring to my destination?
Sir, some old bloke paid me to...
Just so annoyed, but you can't even be surprised. Not worried about taking cover of nothing. I mean, seems this assassin went to the Django Fett School of Bounty Hunting, killing the snitch instead of the back-turned enemy that's chasing you.
He will pay for this!
Always the gentleman.
Desmond?
Desmond was canonically named after a dog? Utilizing the kidnapping mechanic for something completely opposite of it. I love it.
Well, if you never told your father how you felt about him, how was he supposed to know?
I never thought of it that way. I suppose deep down we all just want to be loved.
Expectation subversion. From how we expected this scene to end, and that a noble caring to speak with somebody as low as this fella. Also, I bet this chap was just miffed that he got the least attention out of his 1,000 identical twins.
You're too dizzy. Oh, yes.
What in the Evie trinket are all these moans?
Jacob, you've really put your foot in it now.
It's interesting how Jacob's goal is destroying the Templar presence in London at any cost, whereas Evie is more content with the more big picture idea of taking away the precursor artifact from them. They embody the whole of the Assassin Order and how they operate, but split into two sides of the coin. Just look at how the Assassins operated in Rogue if you need any more proof. Jacob has some pretty incredible facial animations. He is so expressive and believable. Compared to AC games now, where they almost feel like awkward Play-Doh, I gotta hand it to ACS. If no one had told me this game had one of the shortest dev cycles of any AC game, I wouldn't have even thought twice about it. All of the drones are named after assassins who have died, a cute tribute in some weird way of thinking, like they're helping us once again. Though I get the frustrations of stabbing an enemy 1,000 times just to take him down, and this feeling just more shallow Arkham combat, I don't know, I kinda really dig it. AC has always been about the fluidity of the fighting, and it is a big reason I didn't vibe with Unity. It really feels like a dance and almost rhythm game where our 4 face buttons are the notes that we need to balance and hit in time. It's not as deep as Arkham, not as crazy as Shadow of Mordor, but it's got its own grounded charm and really brings in that brawl feeling that a game centered around gangs should have. And like, we can do special 4-man takedowns. How freaking cool is that? Not to mention just how incredible all the animation work is for this fighting.
Listen, I've been picking off your soldiers one by one. Doesn't that make you angry?
On the contrary, surprise is a spice of life. Now, Mr. Starrick, that's a different story. I'm drowning in directives, all terribly boring.
Now this is a side character I can get behind. Seeing this dude's first cutscene perked my ears and locked me right in.
If I fail to provide you with the chance to cause Starrick some pain, well, you can charge into this theater and kill me yourself.
Foreshadowing your own death.
Freedom, Jacob. Stealing that is far more than a sin. It denies us our humanity.
Spoken like a true Ezio from the speech I referenced earlier, Roth was like 3 burning children away from being an assassin. I always wondered how an AC game would work in more modern times, but ACS is able to integrate everything seamlessly. The tech feels well realized and used in the narrative and game mechanics. It makes me want an even more modern game. Unity gets into World War II, and even this game has a special branch of missions with Jacob Starter Lydia in World War I that are quite the highlight of this entire experience. We need more of that. It's so interesting to see how an assassin must operate with firearms. It would push the stealth angle even further, like how Batman Arkham did. Guns are freaking deadly and must be respected. Come on, Ubi. You know you want to.
Off to my carriage we go. Lewis!
I freaking love this dude. Swear he's just doing more than drinking.
Ready? Wait! Whatever for?
There are children in there.
Jacob, my dear. Starrick uses child labor to manufacture goods. We must put an end to his production line.
But not like this.
Protecting kids. Some kind of altruism win, right?
I can do whatever I damn well please. Soon, you will understand what it is to be free, as I am.
I like Roth's character as it highlights a flaw in the assassin ideology. It allows room for people like Roth to justify the horrible actions and pursue them without guilt. Roth getting a breakup letter to Jacob in the 5 minutes it took him to save these kids is next level petty, and I'm here for it. We'd seen this caged bird with Roth in prior scenes, showcasing his deranged desire for control, and he sets this bird free as Jacob's invitation to the show. It's a threat, and that's completely representative of Roth's character. The patrons believing this to be a part of the show is pretty damn neat. Morbidly good special effects, I'd say. Roth shares a similar benefit as an antagonist as Attaway did, being that they actually interact with Jacob before they're taken down. We're able to establish a dynamic between them and some personal stakes besides just being on opposite sides of the line. Their two sequences were the most engaging out of the game. I love that Roth gets mad that Jacob doesn't let him burn kids, so he burns down his entire theater just to spite Jacob. He's top tier petty and I'm living for it.
Snap a baby crow's neck between my thumb and forefinger. Slice to bits the ones you deem innocent. Keep the world in its divine, manic state. For the same reason, I do anything.
Yes, Rob! The best villain of the game!
Starrick is making his move. The Piece of Eden is somewhere inside Buckingham Palace.
Let him have it.
I mean, why not? Jacob has won over London. What's one man going to do with the piece?
Too much haste is too little speed.
Don't you quote father at me.
That's Plato.
Of course the nerd would be quoting Plato at her brother.
That there is something inside Buckingham Palace that could threaten the...
What my sister's failing to say is that we require entrance into the ball tonight.
This is what we need more of. Jacob's methods prevailing over Evie's, and I love to see it, because other than the start in the end, pretty much the whole game is Jacob messing up and Evie being right, which doesn't make for the most engrossing conflict between two siblings when one is right all the time. So this is good. I just gotta say it one more time, this game looks quite incredible. Viewing the peak of the train station hanging in the fog is, well, peak.
Even after your mother's passing? That kind of pain can blind us, cause us to say outlandish things to protect the ones we love.
Even though Evie does everything right in regards to the assassination work in London, it seems her fatal flaw throughout the game is trying too hard to live up to her father. To such a fault that she became him and pushed Jacob away, which is actually more interesting than her having struggles around London too. Not much time is dedicated to it, but this theme underscores every scene the two siblings share. They both want to live up to their father in their own ways. Jacob wants to be more and prove himself that he's worthy of renown, and Evie wants to display her respect for the creed and their wishes, which, when you look for it, it's all there and quite wonderfully subtle, which is very much like life is. It reminds me of Rockstar writing, where you're just watching people do their everyday activities without having some theme shoved in your throat. I dig it. And what is really cool is for the final section, we see a role reversal between the two. Jacob is tasked with the more stealthy missions, and Evie must jack a carriage and pose as a stagecoach, seeing how the other half lives, so to speak, and understand more common ground amongst each other. Evie's movement in this dress is awkward and stilted. She's never had to play a social role like here, where for Jacob it's second nature.
3, 1, 2, 3.
This dance is set in 3/4 time signature, which goes against what we are used to, which would be 2/4 or 4/4, creating an increasing sense of unease in this scene, as Starrick is in complete control.
But if one man could remember the dance, could know the time, then he could change things for the better.
Bro literally has never heard of a book.
Here, the location of the vault, go!
Just like that? No plan?
No time for plans. I'll catch up as soon as I'm rid of this infernal contraption.
Woo! She's just like our boy. This is where the death by 1,000 cuts perfectly makes sense. The shroud just keeps healing him. It's genius to tear him up like this. This final boss is a fucking circus. I was actually shocked the amount of times we switched between Evie and Jacob, and you know what? More power to you, Ubisoft.
Shall we?
Let's.
This is a pretty good payoff for them being at odds the entire game. ACS handled the dual protagonists quite well, and I find it hilarious that with their limited dev time, they were like, yeah, we're gonna somewhat double our work and complicate our story with having two leads, and it kind of worked. They got me wanting to see more of these two, and that's all a piece of media wants to achieve, right? Make you want more?
It's a big world out there, with London in the center.
Perhaps not the very center.
Cute. She says the quiet part out loud. It's so silly, I love it. Instead of our game ending with the protagonist becoming a master assassin, they just become sirs and call it a day.
Race you to the train.
You're on.
Calling back to their first race when they got to London. And you know, keeping the sibling rivalry alive. This song, Underground, is an original for ACS, and it's so bloody good. Beautifully captures the vibe and tone of the game in London, and is able to frame the entire game that grants me an even greater appreciation for it.
You have played your part, my instrument. I will save you. I will save you all.
Even after all this time, Juno is still terrifying. After the end of AC3, I was really hyped to see the precursors having a greater stake in the modern day plot, and for them to get really weird with it. I hear that Valhalla revitalizes the modern day Isu side of things, so I'm excited to see that when we get to that monster of a game one day. Assassin's Creed Syndicate sits in a weird spot for many people. Some people absolutely adore it, and others view it as another notch in Ubisoft's belt of a rushed, underwhelming sequel, with not enough new to justify its existence. I found myself sitting in the middle. While I was severely let down by the story side of things, the gameplay, and more importantly London itself, had a certain allure that I couldn't quite shake. I found myself rolling my eyes at the repetitive missions and annoyed by feeling lost in a purposeless story, but I was still having fun. The moment-to-moment gameplay and exploring industrial London carries this game so hard. After coming off Unity, hearing that this was a downgrade, I was worried, but I honestly believe everything that was changed for ACS was the right call. Unity was a mess, and the team here wasn't in a position of a precursor shroud to save the game's bones. So stripping it back and keeping the things that worked and just focusing it on tight gameplay and a beautiful world was the right call. This game was just meant to be a bridge to get us to Origins, and I think that it serves its purpose. There's an easy 30 to 40 hours of gameplay here if you want it, which doesn't introduce anything that will shake up the lore for you if you miss it, and it doesn't need any background from other games to enjoy. It's a very good jumping on point for players, and also a fine send-off for this area of AC. Funny how, just like Industrial London is undergoing systemic changes, so too was the AC franchise. But I'm glad we got ACS. I dipped on the franchise after AC4 like many of us did, but these are still good, solid games. They aren't as AC3 or Black Flag, that's true, but I still totally believe they are worth the price of admission. Now, I've spent this whole conclusion talking about the game's place in history because there really isn't anything to break down. This game is a stripped-down Unity to bring us closer to AC4 with Arkham combat and a story that boils down to two siblings dealing with the trauma of their father's death. One living in the shadow of it and the other actively doing everything they can to move out of it. It's a really great pitch and rife with conflict for the twins to explore, though we don't get enough of it. When it's good, it's great, but that wasn't this game's focus. And that's okay. I remember thinking to myself when I was running around conquering the boroughs that, wow, I'm doing the same subset of missions and I'm having a blast right now. The game just plays wonderfully. In addition, there's a great host of side content to explore, items to unlock, and a badass Jack the Ripper DLC. It's fantastic. ACS is a victim of following Unity and being the last game before the RPG change. I can see why many believe this game's superior to Unity, and I'm almost inclined to agree, though the promise of Unity's movement makes me want to say I liked it more. But if I'm being honest, moment to moment, I was having more fun with ACS, which wasn't at all what I thought I'd be saying by the end of this video. This is the end of an era, really. Finally having covered every mainline AC game before the RPG era. Won't get to those, but goddamn, those are beasts, and there are somehow 4 of them now. But what are your thoughts on Syndicate? I low-key wish I played it back when it dropped, when I was less critical in games, because 17-year-old me would have ate this shit up. Now I'm 25 and dead inside. Don't forget, War Thunder is available for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile. Make sure to use my links in the pinned comment or description to get your massive bonus pack for a limited time with 7 days of premium, 100k silver, lions, and more. Only for new and returning players, though, who have not played in the last 6 months across PC and consoles. What are you waiting for? Get on the battlefield. Anyway, remember, everyone, drive the speed limit, drink some water, and love one another. Pizza.